time to call your lawyer.
We call our lawyer and friend, Bruce L. Scheiner, attorney for the injured, to see what he's got to say about today's question of the day, which may very well be the one that you sent in. I hope so. If not, I'll tell you how to send one in coming up. But first, today's question. Actually, before that, let me caution you to not take what you're about to hear as specific legal advice in your specific circumstances. That's something you have to sit down with a professional and get a face-to-face consultation on before you'll know the right direction to go. This is just general opinion, and you should use it as such. Please also realize that many attorneys offer a free consultation. Bruce L. Scheiner and Associates certainly do, so it'll be worth your while and to your advantage to sit down and talk to someone. Make sure you find out exactly what your plan of action needs to be. In the meantime, this much we can say for sure. You shouldn't sign anything. You shouldn't say anything or make any recorded statements before consulting with a professional. So let's make welcome Bruce L. Scheiner, attorney for the injured, and bring on today's legal brain teaser at Kicks Country 92.9. Good morning, Bruce.
Good morning, Todd. How you doing this morning?
Just fine. How about you?
Everything's going very well.
Good, good. Well, I appreciate you taking a little time on these Wednesday mornings to help somebody out. Some of these questions can be downright tragic. Some of them are a little offbeat at times, and I think you're going to find that that's the theme of today's, which we'll get to in just a moment here. But whatever the theme is, you're the guy we trust to answer these questions, and again, we appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate being able to help these people.
Now, let's get into today's question and see what your advice would be. It says, this is going to sound bizarre, and it is. My mother was a passenger in her own car. The person driving her car entered the intersection, and the driver of a truck ran a red light and hit her vehicle. My mother sustained significant injuries, including a broken pelvis. The insurance companies of both drivers have made an offer that will cover her current medical bills, but I feel that she will need more attention down the road. What are my options?
Well, again, you need to, these people need to see a attorney that specializes in personal injury cases. It's a question of evaluating the case and negotiating with the insurance company if they're willing to negotiate on a reasonable basis or taking to court. Now, I'm assuming, and I might be wrong, that because it says the driver of a truck is a commercial vehicle and there was adequate insurance involved.
Okay.
You know, it could be somebody's personal pickup truck and they have little or no coverage.
Right.
So they're two different scenarios. If it was a company and they had substantial insurance, it's getting them to pay the full value of the case. And he says that she will need attention down the road. One of the elements of damages are future medical expenses. So you would have to meet with your doctor or client's doctor and get him to give you a report setting forth what medical treatment they would need in the future, whether it's future surgery, future rehabilitation, future therapy, x-rays, medication. You know, depending on the age, future medical expenses could run into the hundreds of thousands of dollars.
That seems to be his biggest concern here, so definitely something to pursue with doctors and an attorney, a personal injury attorney. There was an interesting question that came up in the sense that you really have the possibility, at least on a layman's level, there's a possibility of having three separate insurance companies involved here. The driver of the truck, mother, and the coverage on her vehicle, and then whoever was driving her vehicle presumably might have insurance on his own personal vehicle. Does that have any role in this whatsoever?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, and we're back to our friend uninsured motorist coverage. So depending on what the mom had on her car and whether she lived with any other resident relatives, so how many vehicles were insured for the uninsured motorist coverage, and the driver of her car might have uninsured motorist coverage that would also inure to her benefit.
I see. Okay. So that wasn't a silly question after all. I'm glad somebody came up with that.
It's a great question.
Good. Well, it sounds like, first of all, obviously the son cares very much if he's concerned about future medical issues. And it sounds like the next step is to see a personal injury attorney and get your mom the help she needs. Bruce, I'm sure that'll bring some relief to the ears of whoever sent that in. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure, Todd. It's really nice to be able to be of assistance to someone in need.
Well, you know how we are, especially us guys, when it comes to our moms. We want to do everything we can to take care of them. So I know the advice is appreciated. And I very much look forward to talking to you next week.
I look forward to it too, Todd.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up again for attorney for the injured, Bruce L. Scheiner, and Ask the Lawyer on Kicks Country 92.9. I'll also tell you coming up here how you can get your question, and maybe next week we can get your question answered. So if you've got one of those burning questions or a thorny legal situation you need some help with, I'll tell you how. First of all, I want to direct you to get a personal consultation, face-to-face, sitting down with a professional. With Bruce L. Scheiner and Associates, the Port Charlotte office phone number is 941-743-7777. 941-743-7777. Now, if you'll go to our website, kickscountry929.com, you'll see Bruce L. Scheiner on the homepage. If you don't for some reason, then just type Bruce in the keyword search box. You'll end up at the same place. And that will give you the opportunity to send your question in. You can provide as much or as little detail as you're comfortable with. You'll notice we never give any personal details out on the radio, so you don't have to worry about that. And then we'll submit it to Bruce L. Scheiner for consideration for next week's segment. Once again, call the Port Charlotte office of Bruce L. Scheiner at 941-743-7777. And tell them that Todd Matthews sent you from Kicks Country 92.9.